Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show! Do you guys want to do some quick introductions, and then I'll do announcements and a recap? Nick?
Sure. I'm Nick. I play Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who is a tiefling wild magic sorcerer. I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human rogue swashbuckler.
I'm Zach, and I play Xant, who is a human, not warforged, fighter ranger.
I just realized that 3/4 of the party is human now. Mm-hmm. That's so weird for a D&D.
That is weird.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyways, we premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. The show uses a variety of custom items as well as a custom wild magic table. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. And the character portraits, which you see on the stat cards in the top right corner of the screen, were drawn by an artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. You can check the video description for links and info to everything I just mentioned and a lot more. But other than that, you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon, where we sometimes post about what we're doing, sometimes not.
Been kind of bad about it.
Yeah, been really bad about it.
Yeah, we're getting used to the new premiere schedule.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, a little bit of recap and we'll dive right on in. Sorry, I absolutely didn't really mean to throw shade at you. It just came out that way.
No, I'm laughing at the TV downstairs.
Oh, okay.
It was like this really epic.
Yeah.
I told Jerry to turn it down.
So, it's been 5 years since the party defeated the 8-headed serpent Orochi and saved the Elderhaven Reaches and the world at large from her influence. But now, a night hag by the name of Mother Midnight is making her presence known. An old enemy of the party. She seems to be observing them by magical means and things like that. So to that end, Harmony and Xant researched for information about Mother Midnight, hags in general, and the Sword of Isanahen. And then the party put together a plan to reach Mother Midnight in her lair on Malvold.
I'm sorry, keep going.
The 6th layer of the 9 Hells. Then, to enact the first part of their plan and make their way in that direction, the party arrived in the city of Sigil, where they learned that Siaal, a longtime friend of the group, had paid for their planar journey by entering them in an arena against a juvenile kraken in the middle of this giant fishbowl for the entertainment of the civilians of Sigil.
That was a juvenile? Oh shit.
After a rather chaotic battle, the party is now free to explore the wonders of the City of Doors and secure the papers that they require to lawfully travel in the 9 Hells. And so we're going to pick up right there. I'll put on some music and I'll remind you guys of what it is like to be in Sigil. And then we'll just go ahead and keep going. So, the group of you had stepped out of the Smiling Shark Tavern and found yourselves on these dingy streets in the middle of this dim light where the shadows stretch long and dark across the streets.
Bless you 7 times.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you.
The buildings that surround the alleyways and streets of this area are ramshackle and varied in their construction and architecture and even the building materials used to make them. And some of them, in fact a good portion of them, are choked with this black thorny vine. The air of the city also seems to have this sort of, at least the area that you're in, seems to have this low-hanging smog with this acidic scent and taste to it that sort of makes your eyes water when you step out into the streets. Immediately, as you exited the tavern, you were approached by a young boy who offered to, for a silver piece each hour, light your way through the dim streets with a light spell that he cast. And so, with him as sort of leading the group of you and casting light around you, you started making your way through the streets, eventually realizing that there is a constant sort of slope to the path, whichever way you choose to tread. And then looking up above you, you realize that this is due to the fact that the entire city is situated inside a giant torus, or the insides of a tire almost. Such that when you look up above you, you can see other parts of the city above, with the lantern lights in the windows sort of almost mimicking the effect of stars, though there are no stars or moon or anything like that which you can see. And that is the situation you find yourselves in. Harmony, I think that you were drunk, but then someone cured you of your drunkenness.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm carrying her, and then I think
I
that.
thought Thaddeus had me sloped over his shoulder, and then when I woke up, he set me down and cast Lesser Restoration.
Or wait, maybe I was carrying Valiant.
You might have been.
Yeah.
Valiance, however, is still drunk, and so she's kind of, I guess, slung over her shoulders and kind of looking up at the city above and just going, "Well, are you guys seeing this? Are you seeing this? This is incredible!"
Yeah?
Different.
Yeah, it's weird. Not really the weirdest thing we've seen, though, probably.
Well, it's up there.
It's up there.
Well, and it's up there.
Siaal kind of looks back at you and says, "If this isn't the weirdest thing you've seen, I'd be awfully curious to learn what that is."
I mean, Orochi's pretty up there,
That
too.
was pretty weird. In the level of weirdness that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that's fair. But this isn't as weird as the city gets, if I'm totally honest. I think you'll see as we explore a little bit more. And you make your way through the streets. The child seems to know exactly where he's going, and Siaal kind of walks with purpose as well, as if they are very aware of which way to travel throughout the city to get to the destination. However, the group of you are very quickly lost, because the alleyways in this ward of the city twist and turn and go between, some of them just go straight through the ruins of buildings and things like that, which stood there long ago and are no longer existent, completely just choked by this black vine. And eventually, the entire time you see people, there's people out, but the people of this region of the city keep to the shadows, and you sort of see furtive groups of 3 or 4 meeting under dark cloaks and having hushed conversations in alleys and things like that. And when they catch your eye, they'll disband and all go their separate ways instantly and things like that.
Can I tell what race they are?
Yeah, roll a perception check.
Sure. That is a 23.
Really all sorts. But a significant portion of the group of the people you see having these sort of clandestine meetings and things like that seem to have a fiendish countenance to them. There's also humans. There's more of those green-skinned, pointy ears, gaunt type humanoids that you've seen several times. There's a few, not a ton, but a few of those sort of goat-bodied people. But yeah, I think the majority of this area are people of fiendish countenance and humans.
This is the Hive Ward? Or are we past
the Hive
through?
Ward.
Okay.
As far as you know, you haven't passed into any ward.
Okay.
What
When
was
we... Go ahead.
the name of that agency that was
Oh, the...
responding to
What's
my
his name? Mark
magical
Jensen or whatever?
maladies?
Mike
The
Jensen?
Bureau
Oh.
for Interplanar Risk Analysis.
Yes.
Sorry, say that one more
The
time.
Bureau for Interplanar Risk Analysis.
Okay.
As we look, I guess, up and around Sigil, do we see different architectures for the different wards? Is it pretty plain and clear
There's
where
no
the cutoff point is?
there's no way that you can tell by looking up into the city
Or I guess
where
forward,
a
backwards,
ward.
yeah.
Looking up, you don't see any major walls that would divide wards or anything like that. So you have no real way of telling where one ward would end and what another would start.
Sure.
But to answer your question, yes, you do see an immense variety of architectures here. It's as if the materials used to build the buildings have been pulled from every corner of the multiverse. So you'll see like buildings made from like stone that seems to absorb light, next to buildings carved from what looks like giant mushroom stalks, next to, and the list goes on. It's just a hodgepodge of different architectures here.
Okay. Cool.
So as we're walking, I'll kind of fall into step next to Siaal, and I'll speak kind of just to them.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully no one's listening, especially a certain paladin member of our group. And I'll say, so, there wouldn't happen to be a branch of the Bureau for Interplanar Risk Analysis here, would there, by any chance?
Siaal stifles a laugh and says, "Oh, you've had run-ins with those guys, have you?"
Just a couple times,
There's a lot of crazy types in Sigil. Many would say that they're the craziest. Well, there's a long story to this and a short story to this. Which one do you think you want to hear?
The long one. We've got time.
Okay. Siaal then sort of collects their thoughts and tries to order the story in a good way, and then begins to speak and says, "Well, the first thing you need to know about Sigil is that it's in the midst of, well, a war's the wrong word for it, but it's also the only word for it, between many different factions. And each faction itself clings to a specific belief. There's the... hold on, pull up my notes on factions. There's the Aethar, for example, who believe that the gods in their respective planes are just like the mortals of the world. They're very powerful, but there's nothing special to them beyond their extreme power. They believe the gods can be killed and that they themselves can become gods. And that is a sort of a philosophy that defines the group. But that philosophy conflicts with others. And each of these factions within the city has a hold over different aspects of its running. And they each assert their beliefs, trying to get their belief to the forefront of Sigil's politics. Well, the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis would like to believe that they're a faction. It's the factions, the ones that exist now aren't necessarily the ones that have always existed. And new ones do come and fall, but the thing is, their philosophy, it's just too simple, and so very few people accept them. Hold on, I have to find my note on that. They're based in what's called a gate town. There's a ring that surrounds Sigil down at the base of the spire, and it has towns that border on the various planes of the outer planes. And one of them is named Automaton. It's the gate town that leads to the plane of Mykonos, the plane of utter law and order. And the Bureau, well, it set up shop there a long time ago, and it's grown because they had claim to a very interesting belief, which is that interaction between the material, where you're from, and the outer planes is inherently deadly to the safety of the multiverse, and that they must be maintained separate as much as possible. Otherwise, the multiverse will come to an end, and that's their belief. But many who cling to more philosophical beliefs and join factions of those sorts sort of look down on them as, well, they're not seen as official, I would say.
So, if I knew were to make it onto a list that this
Siaal gives you a
hero
look
has.
and says, "Someone you knew," and raises an eyebrow.
Yeah, just hypothetically.
Sure, of course.
If someone made it onto this list and came to Sigil, I mean, it wouldn't really be a big deal because these guys aren't taken seriously, is kind of what I'm getting from all this.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of other clueless, as the rest of the people in the city will call you, within the city, and the Bureau of Risk Analysis has no real power to do anything about it. As much as they might wish that they did. So, no, to answer your question, you're not going to have the hardheads, that's the police of this city, as it were, knocking down the doors and trying to force you out or anything like that.
Well, I mean, obviously not me.
I mean, you're hypothetical.
I'm not on
of
any
course.
list, but, hypothetically.
Of course, right, sorry, that was a slip of the tongue. Your friend has nothing to worry about in that regard. And even the establishment that they do have set up within the city is small. So, look, and Siaal kind of gestures to the grand ring that you find yourselves in the center of. This city is massive. It'd be like needles in a haystack for anyone from the Bureau to find you.
I
mean, your
was
friend.
hoping you would say that.
And it's at that point which I think probably Hunter and Byakko, since you have like the highest. Sorry, Zant. Ugh. Since you have the highest passive perception in the
I
group.
like it that it's you, not him, correcting.
I was going to, but
Spot
We take turns.
a humanoid figure clad in black robes,
okay.
lying face down on the ground, maybe about 30 feet in front of you, at the edge of an alley.
What else do we notice about the surrounding area of where this person is? Like, is it like a murder scene?
Do you want to roll a perception check?
Sure. I guess
First roll of the night.
second roll of the night.
Second?
You rolled a perception check earlier.
Oh, how did I miss that?
You have rolled badly on your perception.
So this is lower than my passive. Do you take my passive?
Sure.
23.
Yeah, so there's no like pools of blood
Okay.
spraying out from this person or anything like that, so if it's a murder scene, it wasn't done, or it doesn't seem as if it were done by stabbing or anything like that.
Okay.
The other thing you would notice with your passive perception is that the street, the cobblestones are like covered in mud and filth and things like that, and there are cart tracks that are moving through the street that go right by that body.
And we're heading towards this body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I would, I guess, who's walking next to me? I'm guessing maybe Thaddeus was walking next to me or something. I would kind of point.
That is like, he didn't notice any of the conversation that you were having with Siaal. He's been like the worst kind of tourist who's just like gawking at everything around him.
Yeah. And so I kind of bump him and get his attention. And I point him like, there's a body over there. I'm like,
Oh.
should we bother? I mean, we're gonna pass by it. I mean,
Yeah, let's see if we can find out what happened here.
okay. So we'll slow down and take a look.
Yeah, it's just a cloaked figure that is face down in the mud when you get up close to it.
Are they alive?
You reach
I think-
down,
Yeah. Well, I think
How do you
that
want
is.
to check?
Excuse me.
there's no response.
Can Byakko listen for anything other than this? Like if a person's like breathing or something? Or...
Like breathing or a heartbeat or
Okay.
something like that.
So Byakko gets a 31.
Why does Byakko have advantage?
That's a hearing check.
Oh, did they get
Or
smell
wait,
and
I'm sorry,
hearing?
that's spell. Oops. Okay.
It would. I'll still apply it for smell. Yeah, Byakko kind of turns his nose up to you and wrinkles it and sort of shakes the head.
Okay.
Side.
Yeah, no breathing. So I'm.
Alright, well, in that case, I'll examine. How's your medicine? It's better than mine.
It's +2.
Okay, well, same as mine. Alright.
Okay, I can help you.
Thaddeus will examine the body, see if he can find out how.
Are you
So
also
you wanna,
going
like, roll it
to
over?
examine the
Yeah,
body?
that's what I was waiting for opportunity
Would you like to help to examine the body?
for
to examine.
for Pinky
Oh.
to go to work.
Oh, thank you for reminding me of something I wanted to do though. What was your check? We'll get to that in
21.
a second. 21.
Thank you for the help. Give us a
You sort of roll the body over and get a look at it, and this body has multiple stab wounds in the chest, but they seem to be older. They're not fresh or anything like that.
Ew. People just leave there.
The face, it looks to be a human man. He's got sort of like dark, scraggly beard and a bald head, but he is very clearly dead. He was very clearly stabbed to death, and he's just covered in dirt and grime.
So I think
from
I would
laying in the mud.
turn to Siaal and say, is this sort of thing normal? Like, does the vine...
Yeah, Siaal and Harmony had gotten a little ways ahead because they were maybe didn't notice that.
Oh, okay,
the
sure,
movie had
yeah.
stopped.
We were
But
gathering.
when you call to Siaal, Siaal turns around and says, "Wait, what's that there? Body?
Yeah.
Just leave it."
But
Just leave it?
The
it's
dust
been
man
dead
will
for
get
some
it.
time.
And Siaal kind of starts walking back and gets up to the body and looks at it and looks down at the ground and sees the cart tracks and says, "Oh yeah, this one probably just fell off a Dustman's cart. They'll come back."
What's a dust man?
Siaal turns to Harmony and says, "Well, they're one of those factions. All you need to know is they run the mortuary of the city."
Oh, so it's... I mean, after we checked him, like, yeah, it's been dead for a while, so I mean, maybe it was just being taken somewhere, and this corpse, and...
Are the
Yeah, this sort of thing happens all the time in the Hive Ward.
are the Dustmen in close contact with the officials here? Would they have alerted the officials to this murder?
Siaal just shakes their head. Not if it happened in the Hive Ward, probably not. Honestly, bodies turn up here all the time. It's no big deal. The Dustmen will pick it up, and they'll take it to the mortuary, they'll send it down into one of the planar portals that they have there, and it'll be gone.
What do the Dustmen believe?
Oh, they have an interesting one. Hold on.
I think this seems like the sort of place where a paladin defensions could go mad.
Siaal
Maybe
chuckles
we
and
should stay a
says,
while.
Siaal chuckles and says, "The Hive is certainly the place for that."
Maybe we should just leave this area.
Oops. I was trying to search, but I was not doing that. Here we go. Siaal says to Harmony, well, the Dustmen are mildly mad in there, from my perspective anyways. They believe that no one is really truly alive, just in different states of death, and that the ultimate goal of all beings is to achieve a state of true death, which is just to not be.
So how is it that they don't just all commit suicide?
Well, they're all trying to achieve that specific state of true death, which I said. And it's not as simple as committing suicide, because then they go and become a petitioner on an outer plane.
I see.
Which, are you in a faction?
Siaal kind of like looks at you and says, "This really isn't the place for this. Let's just keep walking and I'll explain."
He's so sassy.
All these questions are for your reference. Not that I have any problem answering, because this is important stuff if you're going to spend time in the city, but all of these questions are exactly why you're labeled as clueless.
I'm sorry that they don't have an education on outer planes in the material one.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm
just
surprised
says,
that
no,
doesn't
like
have
I
a
said,
book.
no judgment. There's no reason why you should know this stuff. It's just from the perspective of the people who live here. It's ridiculous that you don't.
So you
Did
wanted
you
to do
want
something
to-
too, right?
Yeah.
Well, if it fell off the cart, I'm sure there's nothing really to pick, but I don't want to touch it,
You
so I'm
want
going
to
to
dig
send
through its
Pinky.
pockets?
I'm going to send Pinky because I don't want to touch it.
When you give Pinky the command to like hop out of your pocket and check it out, Pinky pops his head out for the same time, or for the first time since you got here, and his little rodent eyes go wide and his nostrils open up and he starts sniffing around, and you just hear in telepathically in your head, home, 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 home. And he hops out of your pocket and goes down and looks at the body and kind of rifles through the pockets and pushes a couple of gold coins out of them. We'll say there are 10 gold coins that he pushes out of
That's
the pocket.
quite a bit.
And and then he kind of looks up at you with big eyes and looks to an alley and says, home.
Okay, go on. See you later, maybe.
And he kind of scampers off down the alley a little ways and then turns around and gives you another, like, wide-eyed look. And you can just hear, it's kind of faint at this distance now because you're a little ways apart now. He just says telepathically back to you, food?
Okay, I give him food for the road.
And he takes it gratefully, and then just you can hear like the last thoughts as he scampers off and out of telepathic range is just home, 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 home.
Weird. Okay.
Pinky.
But in that time, Siaal was answering Thaddeus' question, which is, are you a part of the faction?
Yeah, do you have a faction?
Siaal says, yes, as a matter of fact, though, honestly, it's a little bit scrutinized. There's a faction known as the Free League. Many people call them the Indepts, but essentially they're people who don't belong to any other faction, and they've sort of band together, and many of them are merchants and things like that, so it's a natural niche for me.
So you're in a faction of people who aren't in a faction.
Essentially,
That's
yes.
exactly what I was gonna say.
Now you're understanding the city.
The factionless faction. Okay.
And so Siaal kind of just like gestures. Can we get going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed we're walking at this point.
Yeah.
You go another little ways, and there is another body sprawled out in the cart tracks. And a little ways further down the road, there's yet another body, and this one's missing a head. And it goes on like this for a little while until you catch up with a cart, which seems to be pulled. It's a big cart, and it's got these like two spokes that are used as like the pulling handles, and it's being pulled by these two large ogre-looking creatures. But as you get close to them, you can see that their flesh is kind of rotted and melting,
Ew.
and they are clearly zombies.
Yeah.
And sort of directing them and like having them pick up, there's a body on the side of the road, and having the ogres pick that body up and put it in the cart is a like old-looking, frail-looking, gaunt man with green skin and pointed ears. He's bald and he has tattoos all over his head, and he just is like directing the ogres, like, yeah, don't forget to pick him up, put him in the cart, make sure he doesn't fall out. One or two more, and we'll head back to the mortuary. And he just is directing these ogres, and you guys can walk past, or you can interact. It's up to you.
I'm not gonna interact. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
we can-
shocked.
I don't know. This is a lot.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell him, hey, buddy, you're not doing your job. You're leaving little trails all behind you.
And he like starts as if he didn't see the group of you at all. What's that?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
leaving-
leaving a trail of bodies in your wake.
And he kind of like looks back. Well, how far back does the trail go?
Well, we've been walking for quite a while. We've come across 3.
Next patrol will get it. Yeah, it's not my thing. I don't need to worry about it. Move along. You don't need to get involved with this. And he kind of like then just like snaps his fingers and like directs the ogres forward.
Shouldn't you be working with the authorities here?
The old man like cackles.
Thaddeus, this is why they call us clueless. Come on, catch up.
I understand why. I'm just trying.
You're clueless.
I'm
Now
just trying
I
to
see.
convince him that maybe he shouldn't be doing that.
The hardheads don't come down to the high board. They don't care what happens here.
So who does?
Absolutely freaking no one. And he just sort of like begins walking forward with his ogres.
I like this place.
Harmony would like this place, considering the high board is the home and domain of the Chaositects, known as the Chaos Men, who believe that the multiverse wasn't born from chaos. The multiverse is chaos.
I mean,
Isn't it though?
So, I mean, that's
There's
why
your
I found you
faction.
might like this place. Anyways, after that encounter, you plod your way forward just a little ways farther, and the acidic smoke that has plagued your lungs up to this point sort of begins to dissipate a little bit. And while it is still ambiently dark, and it seems to be getting darker, despite the fact that there's no setting sun or anything like that, it's just as if someone is dimming the lights on the city. You step into an area of the city that slowly begins to transition into a more clean and orderly, like things instead of winding alleys that sort of connect at chaotic intersections and things like that, there seems to be an order to streets. You occasionally begin to see street signs with names on them.
Are they written in common?
They seem to be written in a variety of languages, common being one of them, yes.
Is there water anywhere that we can see? No running water, no nothing, no trees, no vegetation. nothing.
Occasionally you'll see, like, now that you're in this ward of the city, you'll see, like, a square with a fountain in it that has running water or things like that. But you haven't seen, like, any lakes or anything like that. And Siaal says, we're now entering the clerk's ward, and it won't be much farther. My place is in the market ward, so it's really just on the other edge of the clerk's ward. The hive is one of the biggest, the clerk's is one of the smallest, so I'd say we're maybe about half an hour out.
One of the largest wards in the city has no protection whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Sigil, that is.
So is it common to just walk from place to place, or is it another mode of travel that people use?
You know, I thought I was prepared to run this city. Yes, there is another mode of travel. Yeah, people will sometimes hire, like, what are they called?
Zombies with
Sedans or
Coaches?
coaches. The word I'm looking for is
Rickshaw.
palanquins. Palanquins to carry them around the city, but they don't usually service the hive ward.
What's
So
that?
if you want to go into the hive ward, it generally means you're walking on foot.
Palanquin is like one of the things that royalty ride around in, and like four people are
they're
carrying.
carried like this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of
There's
those.
no wheels. It's just like
It's just people.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got it. I know about this thing.
And indeed, as you get into the clerk's ward, there are more people walking through the streets than there were in the hive ward. Most of the people in the hive ward were like clinging to the shadows, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. But there are people who are openly walking about, and they seem to be dressed in the robes of like clerks and merchants and things like that.
What's the difference between the clerk ward and the merchant ward?
It's really minute. And some people say they're the same ward, to be honest. The only difference is in the clerk's ward, you're going to find your services. In the market's ward, you're going to find your goods.
I see.
So in fact, tomorrow, or perhaps if you wanted to stop there now, but when you go looking for, you said you were here for infernal papers?
Yeah.
The clerk's ward is probably where you're going to want to start.
Good to know.
And Moloch from your shoulder invisibly says, like in your ear, yeah, boss, I know the place. It's in the clerk's ward. It's honestly not far from here. We could go now if you want.
Do we want to stop by now or come back in the morning when we're rested?
How long is it going to take, do you think, Siaal, to get the papers? You know?
Siaal shrugs and says, honestly, I don't ever go to the Nine Hells if I can avoid it. So I'm not sure.
Let's go now. I sort of want to get out of this place.
Well, I promise you, the rest of the city is much more lively.
It's not that. I'm not going to be able to think about anything else while I'm here.
I see. The agenda.
No. Like he's not going to be able to think about anything except the hive while he's here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so is that the direction you want to
Well,
take?
I guess, yeah, we could go. Is it late?
I mean, I'd rather go to Sial's place first, but
Me too.
But
Okay.
it seems like we're backtracking, though.
yeah, it's okay.
I mean,
Pass right
we
by
might
it.
have to make a lot of.
We were
Stops
ready to do that
anyway.
anyways.
Well,
So.
like I said, the market ward and the clerk's ward are very close.
Okay.
They're both rather small comparative to other parts of the city. It won't take long, and especially since you could hitch a ride in a palanquin or something like that tomorrow if you don't want to make the walk. But Siaal kind of looks up at the sky and says, we are getting rather close to anti-peak, so it might be a good thing to
wait.
make it back to my case.
Yeah, that's kind of why.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
let's do
remember
that.
you saying that before too. All right, to your shop.
Okay. In that case, the light boy that has been leading you continues to lead you through the city. In this ward, like I said, you see a lot more organized architecture to the roads and things like that. What are the features out there? You see a lot of buildings have like business names on them, like there's lawyers and like money lenders and things like that, of that nature. The other thing that you see while you're walking through this ward of the city is you see a creature type that you've not witnessed up to this point. And you spot them. There's a section where like that black vine with the thorns is like creeping over a building, and they are basically attending to these vines with these massive shears. They're like trying to clip them. But these figures are incredibly tall, maybe like 7.5 feet tall. Humanoid figures with this like dark gray skin. Bring up a picture of them. I think they have horns. What do they call it? I'm sure that Nick knows exactly what I'm looking
He's
for.
already pulled up a picture.
How do you spell it? Is it D-A-B?
It's just Adatus?
Yeah. Is it D-A-B-U-S?
Yeah.
Nothing's popping up. Anyways, yeah, so they have these horns that come up off of the front of their heads, and they have these like crazy bushy hairdos that almost look like wisps of white hair that come almost like the Who's
Oh, okay.
in or like the Things in Dr. Seuss. You know, they have that kind of hairdo, and they wear these
Like a dandelion kind
Like a
these
troll.
dark robes with like red and gold on them. And the weirdest thing about them is that they don't seem to touch the ground. They just float there, and you can't really even see feet. But they're trimming these vines, and they're just doing it in utter silence.
Walk on by, I guess.
Yeah.
Keep on, keep on.
of.
In that case, eventually, you make it into the market ward, where you begin to see more like shops and stalls and things like that, where things are for sale. And Siaal kind of leads you through alleyways and back roads to a rather humble-looking, almost very Elendal-esque architecture home that is situated on a nice, well-curated street with like a lamppost right out front. And Siaal just kind of stops in front of the house and then says, "All right, light boy, this is it. You've already been paid your gold, so run along." And the light boy just kind of says, "Yes, ma'am," or "Yes, yes, yeah, whatever," and runs away.
Yes, whatever.
And yeah, Siaal just basically kind of gestures you up the porch.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go on.
Yeah.
On the inside, the furnishings are entirely aquamarine.
Great.
Everything.
Great.
Theirs are like plush pillows
That's
and
what color her hair was and stuff today
yep.
too, right?
Mhm.
It was
there are like pillows and couches and like futons and things like that. And every single furnishing of the room has this sort of like aquamarine theme to it. And Siaal just kind of gestures you into the main sitting area and says, "Well, you can make yourselves comfortable here tonight. I imagine it's better than a lot of places you've slept. Unfortunately, I only have one bedroom. Real estate is very expensive here in the city. And my business as well, but not that well."
that's fine.
Okay.
Look around, I feel like I need to wear my Mannerite cloak in here.
It's good to see
Like
something that's
underwater.
almost familiar.
Yeah, well, you know, I do business on a lot of planes, but Elendal, though it's not very profitable, is one of my favorites. So it feels nice to have a little bit of that here, even in my home city.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. Does it look like her mansion or whatever it was that
Yeah,
you stayed in
it's
before?
very much like that. It's almost the same decor. And the mansion was like, pretty much every surface was like cushy to a certain extent, but also very elegant, you know? So like, even though like the cushions might have this aquamarine color to them, they have like silver like tassels and things on them, stuff like that.
That's nice. It's nice.
If you make yourself comfortable here for the night, tomorrow morning we can stop by my shop. If we went there now, it wouldn't be open anyways. I closed up for the night when I got your message. And then after that, I might have to tend to my shop and send you on your way for the day, but if that's alright with you,
Yeah.
we can meet up again later.
Alright.
Sounds
That's
good.
fine.
Sounds
Alright.
good. This is exciting.
Then Siaal just kind of like, you can tell that they're feeling a little bit awkward, like they don't usually have guests over, but they're just kind of like, alright,
Where's the bedroom?
it's just sort of around the corner. There's a small stairway upstairs. There's a landing, and only really one room up there. That's my room.
Are you
So if you
wearing
need anything, just come knock on the door. That's fine.
the
Okay.
ballet slippers of haste that I made for you?
Yeah, I don't think I had a chance to take them off.
Yeah, look, I made those.
You show her the slippers.
Yeah.
Well, those are ballet slippers. That's wonderful.
No, I enchanted them.
I know. I presumed. I'm messing with you. What do they do?
They make her go really, really fast. I can't use that magic myself. Well, at least I couldn't when I made them. But I'd seen Thaddeus do it a bunch of times, so I just watched him really close, and I made him do it
So
for
it's
me.
kind of nodding.
And then I was able to make her things do it too.
You know that I don't use magic, right?
I mean, it's close enough.
It's magic in a fashion.
For fashion.
Oh, and I made this too.
The scarf.
A scarf, yeah.
Well, it seems like you've been very busy. That's impressive.
We have a conundrum though. I was wondering maybe you might have an idea on what we can do.
Of course. If you just want to sit down, I can bring some tea or something.
Sounds good.
And Siaal then goes into the kitchen, and after a few minutes, you hear like the sound of a teapot boiling. And after just a few moments, they come back into the room with a silver tray with these like aquamarine cups, of course, but it's like a clear aquamarine, so you can kind of see
That's cool.
inside.
Trendy.
With silver on the rim, and they pour some tea into the cups.
So I take my bag and I'm rifling through it.
I have a lot of different types of tea, but this one, the leaves that were used to brew this were actually grown in the plain of Elysium. So it's said to be very good. I rarely ever break out the tea this time, so.
Well, we appreciate the hospitality. And I pull out Helia's instant fortress out of my bag, and I hold it out for Siaal, and I say, have you ever seen something like this before?
Valiant is snoring on the couch.
Yeah.
Valiance is passed out.
Yeah.
Valiance passed out a long time ago. Siaal will roll an Arcana check. They kind of tilt their head, look at it, take it from you, examine it. Well, there's a command word. I can tell that much.
Don't say it though, because I don't think you have space in here for what happens.
Yes, what does it do?
Well, it increases in size so that you can actually, it turns into like a building. And you can go in, and there's like 3 rooms? 2 rooms? It's like
2
two
floors.
stories,
Two floors.
2 floors, and it's got like places where you can like shoot arrows out of.
And some space on the roof.
Some space on the roof. We use it when we're out camping, you know.
That's how we go camping.
But
Castle camping.
it's really convenient because we can, when we're done with it, we can say the command word again and shrink it back down in size, and then just carry it around in our bag, just like that.
That is convenient.
I want to do that to her ship.
Ah.
But I'm
Well,
not
I
really
won't say
sure.
it's impossible, but I am going to say it would be a lot of work.
It would be. And I'm not sure
Though
if
that's an
would be.
interesting project. I don't often dabble with making things grow or shrink, but and
She's
Siaal
all
kind of
about the
flashes
shrinking.
the pointed tooth grin. I'd be interested to collaborate on it with you.
Would you? If we could figure that out,
Siaal nods.
and maybe
Then
Was
that's how
there
we go
some kind
fishing.
was there some kind of spell or protection we had to put on it to use it in the river sticks?
A coating or something? Is that what it was? Like a protective.
What you learned about was there are often ships that on the material plane are known for being able to hop to
That's it.
different
Yeah, that's what it
planes
was, yeah.
via magic artifacts on or within
That's
them.
what it was. Yeah.
But you also do know that it takes a certain, like, there's something that has to be done to a ship to make it able to sail on the river Styx.
Right.
Like,
So
it would have to be treated somehow as well.
if we could figure out how to make it shrinkable, and then we can figure out what kind of magic or something that we need to do to it to make it float in the river Styx, and we don't need to buy a ship or rent a ship or charter a
Test
ship.
it more.
I thought the plan was to steal the ship. Aren't we taking over the one that you saw?
Hold on. Are you feeling okay?
Yes, that is, did you just suggest stealing something?
Well, from the horrible monsters that had what we saw.
Maybe you ought to lie down. I think you've had a very long day.
Do I need to call the hardheads on you?
We're having such an effect on him.
Was the plan to steal a ship?
The High Board's done a great deal to port that.
There was that one that you saw that you said that your grandfather was bored. I thought our plan was to take that one.
Oh, I see. Take back.
Sure.
Steal.
I'm being more honest about it.
I think I might have to lay down. I can't believe it. Yeah, that's also an option, but it would also be interesting to see if we could get that one to be shrinkable too. Although we wouldn't have to if we can just jump anywhere we want to with it.
That's what I thought the plan was. But, you know.
Anyway,
I'll admit, planar travel via ship is something I'm not terribly familiar with. That's a little bit outside my realm of expertise. However, I believe I could find the necessary merchants through the rest of my faction who would sell the materials needed to perhaps treat the whole of a ship so that it could sail on those waters.
Oh.
we might have to do that even if we find
Not
it
much
doesn't
I'm
sound-
confident I could achieve.
Okay.
All right. Are you writing this down in your
Oh,
agenda?
yes. It's like taking notes.
Okay, so, and we need the papers. And did we need someone to
A fiend to steer it.
steer the ship?
You're going to want to.
Don't we have a fiend?
A guide? Is that what it was?
Yeah, but I mean, Moloch, you can't be our guide, can you?
Yeah, sorry, I've never touched the wheel of a boat in my life. But Siaal says, well, if you're going to want to sail the river Styx, there's an obvious choice for captain of your boat. The most adept sailors on those waters are the Morenoloths, and there are a number of them within the city. You're going to want to go to the lower ward, probably to contract one of them. Their prices do tend to decrease drastically if you provide your own boat. Though if you're willing to pay out of pocket a fair penny, it's possible that you wouldn't need to search for a boat at all.
What were they called? Morenoloths?
Morenoloths.
Morale.
You want the spelling?
Yes, please.
Alright, let me find it.
Morenoloth. A lot of vowels.
Merrenoloth.
Hey, I only missed it by an R. Arr.
Alright,
Those
we're
are
talking about.
fiends that can guide. River
Yes,
Styx guide.
to be specific, they're Yugoloths.
Wait, didn't we...
That sounds so familiar.
It does.
Are those the things that came through your portals?
Siaal is ringing like ear to ear, just listening to you guys talk like this.
No, I mean, the frog
No,
things
those
came
were,
through.
what were those called?
Frog things?
Yeah. What were the
Came through a portal?
There was some...
So-
Slotty.
Like my friend that we were talking
Right,
about.
you're this friend.
You
of
know,
course.
might have accidentally opened a portal and let some Slotty through in the material plane.
And now I understand
that's
why a friend of yours is in trouble with the
Yeah.
Antiheroes.
But, you know, it's just a hypothetical.
That
Of
was
course.
you, and it happened twice.
Go to sleep, Thaddeus.
See, I'll just like burst out laughing.
Go to sleep, Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, have you had any of this tea yet? It's absolutely wonderful.
I just will take some tea.
Anyone who drinks the tea, by the way,
Uh-oh. I feel like I would be drinking it, too. So.
the tea tastes like whatever flavor in the world brings you the most joy.
Oh, cool.
And so to each of you, it's a slightly different taste. And you cannot stop drinking it.
Oh no, are we addicted?
And at when you guys are done drinking it, because it goes quickly, I need you all to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, no.
Okay. Do we get Thaddeus' aura?
Yeah, y'all pretty close, right?
What's your aura?
Plus
Plus
5.
5?
Okay, I need that so bad.
Oh,
I think I will
Lord.
too.
Okay.
Sorry, this is wisdom saving throw?
Mm-hmm.
And it's plus 5?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's the way. Oh, well. I don't need your aura at all, Thaddeus. I step away from him and then roll my saving throw.
So how'd you all do?
22.
23.
31.
Natural 20, 22.
Okay, yep. The tea is merely delicious.
It would be a 27.
We were going to be addicted, weren't we?
I'm not going to say the effect. Who wants another cup?
I do!
Yeah, Siaal will pour another cup of tea for all of you.
I'll say, yo, this is really addicting.
Absolutely, it's from, like I said, it's from Elysium.
What is Elysium?
Well, it's one of the upper planes.
I think
It's a natural paradise, as it were. Those who find themselves there experience nothing but pure joy for their afterlife.
yeah, I think Radiance told me about this when we were camping that one day.
Wait, we're getting derailed. What's a Yuga law?
Oh, we never found that out.
Right, Siaal kind of goes, right. Well, and the guys that Siaal usually wraps around themselves of this human form with, all of the beautiful adornments and all of that, shimmers and fades away. And sitting across from you, holding the teacup, is a fox-like creature, wearing the same exact outfit, and with aquamarine, like highlights to the fur, wearing all of the same jewelry and things like that. And Siaal just points to themselves and says, well, I'm one, for example, but there are many other types.
That is just like has frozen.
You knew she was a king, though.
No one ever told me
I
that.
did tell you that.
When?
At the end of the campaign,
Oh.
because
This is
They
your first time
asked-
seeing it, though.
they
Oh,
asked me to tell everybody. So
Oh,
I went
okay.
and was
So
like,
you
so
told-
actually,
Okay.
there are a few...
Then he takes it better than that. Are these Morenoffs like you?
In some ways, different in others. Well, we Yugoloths are as varied as any other type of fiend, I suppose.
I think I would examine Siaal and compare between the Yugoloth and a Kitsune, and think of are they very similar?
In some ways, Siaal only has one tail, which is
Right, but all the
rarer
features
than
up
Kitsune.
until that point are
Kitsune have more streamlined, angular features, whereas Siaal seems to have almost more they are fox-like, but it's also kind of a little bit jackal-ish.
Okay.
So it's a little bit bigger, broader
Sure.
features to the face and things like that. Less angular, a little more rounded.
But it's kind of like that other person, we saw another Yugoloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's their name?
Oh,
The
yeah.
guard or the librarian.
Yeah, he has
The
a
librarian's rival.
3-letter name, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really short name.
Strax, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. The one that came and attacked Siaal after
Yes.
being freed from the library.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Siaal actually brings that up and says, and at that time there was another creature with...
Who we met.
Yes, there was another creature with the librarian at the time, though, a sort of bug-like creature with a trident. That is also a Yugoloth, for reference. And each of us is very different. They tend to, whereas the devils are, they're all about their law and their order, and the demons are all about their chaos and destruction. The Yugoloths are a little bit more of a balanced, neutral ground, I suppose.
Why do you disguise yourself?
Well, here I suppose I don't technically have to, but it's a little bit of a habit from all my time dealing on the material plane, where people are a little bit less likely to react well.
I see.
And Siaal kind of gives a quick glance, like playful glance at that, yes.
So, what makes Yugoloth such good river Styx guides?
Well, not all of them would be, but the Moranoloths, specifically, which are a subdivision of the Yugoloths, have a sort of primeval connection to the river itself, and they can form similar connections with the boats they captain, making them flawless navigators of the river Styx, whereas any other being, almost, that attempts to navigate those waters inevitably finds themselves in a place they do not intend to go.
I see.
Good to know. You wouldn't have any Moranoloth buddies, would you?
Oh, no. But
I'm not sure I like the way you said that.
well, it's nothing against them personally, it's just that I don't spend a lot of time with many other Yugoloths because they tend to find me a little bit not evil.
I was gonna say extra?
That too. Though amongst Arcanoloth, which is what I am, this is rather normal.
What was it called? Arcanoloth?
Arcanoloth.
That's the word I knew.
My brain is getting full.
Yeah, maybe we should sleep.
Mine and Zan's brain is getting full.
I finished my second cup of tea.
It might be nice to have some time to digest everything we've seen and learned today.
Yes, I think so.
If you finish your second cup of tea, wisdom saving throw.
Yes!
Second cup of wisdom saving throw.
What does your tea taste like?
What does my tea taste like?
Yeah.
Let me think about it. Oh.
Addiction.
Ooh, that's a 12.
A 12? It's just what you needed.
Oh.
That's just what I needed.
Then luck down. Let's see what happens.
I mean, you can choose to fail. So.
No. What does my tea taste like?
Whatever taste in the world would bring you the most joy.
Wine. Sorry, that was me, not Harmony. No, I think Harmony's would also be wine. Sweet wine, though.
Since you guys seem to have your brains full and have finished up the tea, Siaal collects all the cups, takes them into the kitchen area, does something with them in there, and then comes back around.
Why do you have to say it like that?
Like they're off scene, like you can't see what they're doing.
It's so cryptic.
Siaal's a very cryptic creature. Comes back in a moment and says, well, if you are going to take your rest and digest the information you've gained today, then I'll take my leave and leave you to it. I'll wake you up when the morning hours arrive.
Okay.
Thanks again for letting us stay
One
with you.
last thing. Does Sigil have normal day-night hours like the material plane? Is it completely different?
Ish. You may have noticed there's no sun, moon, or stars out there in the city. However, by some ancient magic, or perhaps the dictation of the Lady of Pain herself,
Lady of Pain?
That's another bucket of worms. We can dive
Okay,
into
no,
that
sorry.
A bucket of worms.
For whatever reason, the light within the city alternates on a cycle. 6 hours of dim light, 6 hours of bright light, akin to sunlight, though not quite. 6 hours of dim again, and then 6 hours of dark. And as you look out the window, it is pitch black
Oh,
outside
okay.
right now. The bright is peak, the dark is anti-peak. That's all you need to know.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I have.
If you want to know more about the Lady of Pain later,
Tomorrow.
perhaps we can talk. But she is not someone you sum up in a short conversation before bed.
Oh boy.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll ask you tomorrow.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like a little bit less clueless.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer to being clued.
Clueful.
Siaal kind of leans in with a chuckle and
Clue
says,
more?
"Who knows? Someday someone might even call you a blood," and then walks upstairs.
Ah.
As if that was
Clue
supposed to
more?
mean something.
Yeah, no, like, oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
do I have...
Siaal keeps their planar speak in check for the most part, dealing with so many prime material people like yourselves. But
It's okay, I speak a lot of
Okay.
languages.
Before bed, I have enough local spell slot, which means gimme that book
Oh, yeah.
from fucking Gavin.
Give you that book.
Woo, woo, woo. I take the book and I cast Identify
identify.
with Wish.
Yeah, you're gonna use like legend lore or something? And use that
We can
first-
try that tomorrow.
first level
Legend
spell.
lore, what's that?
It's a 5th level spell.
It's
It's all the same.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, who cares? Identify will tell you what it does, what it is.
True.
So, wish. I mean, it's a spell, so like it doesn't have any chance of removing your ability to wish or anything like that. But
Exactly.
how is your wish word?
Oh, I still have the wish.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
at least that's the way I imagine the spell. Maybe you imagine differently. I guess it's up to you.
I wish to be able to understand what this book is and what it does.
You utter your wish, and the fabric of the multiverse shifts. Let me check something. Trying to look a few things up. Nick, am I remembering something correctly that there's something special about how wish works in Sigil, or did I make that up?
I think you might, well, no one in our campaign ever got power enough to cast it.
Okay, then we'll just go with it.
Yeah.
I thought I read something somewhere about wish, but it might have been like, you can't get into Sigil except by a portal, even with wish.
That's,
Yeah,
I think that sounds right. Okay, we go.
Anyways. The magic flows out from you and into the book in your hands, and then a magic knowledge transfer flows back the other direction. And you learn that what you're holding is effectively a communication device. You can write in it, and what you write there is communicated elsewhere. And it's really ironic because we were just talking about
Oh my
this.
gosh, that's what it is? That's amazing.
It's Tom Riddle's journal.
And I'm at that part of the book.
Ah!
And the audiobook.
When
That's
you
funny.
mentioned that before we started playing today, I was like, they're going to investigate the book, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Anyways.
Do I find out?
Made one of these books
Does
before?
the Identify spell give me any other information about it?
Like
Or
where
is
it's
that
going?
literally
Learn its properties, how to use the item, whether it requires attunement, it doesn't require attunement, how many charges it have, it doesn't have any spells affecting the item and what they are. The clasp of the book has upon it a spell, but I can't remember what it's called. It's that one that you can like draw a symbol on something, but it's not symbol. It's like the lower level version of symbol.
Mm. Is it like a ward
Like
or
an
something?
icon or.
It's gonna drive me crazy. Anyways, it has some protective spell on it that will
Oh, Glyph of Warding?
Glyph of Warding. It has that spell cast upon the latch. It didn't trigger before when you opened it because it was in a anti-magic field.
okay? So if I were to open it now, it would trigger.
Probably. And that would be what you learned about the book.
Okay. You guys. You guys. Go to sleep, Thaddeus. You look tired.
You guys.
You guys. It's a communication device. You can write in it, and the message gets sent.
How ironic.
The other thing
I don't know.
that I would say is you guys remember seeing, when you were in the Feywild with Gavin, you would have remembered seeing him holding this book, but when he held it and actually showed it to you, the pages were filled with information about Fey creatures.
It was
With
the
all
same
that
book.
seems blank.
Oh, it was the same book.
It was a small black leather book.
Would I know from the spell if it sends messages to anyone or just a specific target? Or like, who has the...
It would be to a specific person.
Okay, so it's
And you would also learn that messages can be conveyed
received
back
as well. The only problem is...
Are they from 50 years ago?
Or from the future.
The only problem is there's a spell on the latch, like we thought. It's a glyph of warning, so I don't know exactly what that's gonna do to us if we try to open it. But it's a communication tool, so he's been in cahoots with somebody. Secretly, I would have guessed. And I give it back to Zant.
Yeah, I'll put it away again. Okay, well that's good to know. I'm sure.
Who do we know that can pop glyphs? Sleep. How much did it cost?
You know dispel magic.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, he could cast Dispel Magic, or I could do tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Get a
because you got the wish.
If I don't need to use Wish, I might as well use it, because I'm going to get it back when he sleeps. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's go to bed.
Okay,
I feel satisfied.
good finds.
All of you exhausted from fighting a juvenile kraken, wandering through the hive, learning a plethora of planar lore, fall into a restful sleep on Siaal's couches,
And we don't get abducted.
and get a long rest.
Right.
I didn't lose any HP, you guys. You know what?
You lost temp HP. I
My-
lost some.
My scorpion body lost some.
Crab.
Body.
Huge giant crab.
My huge crab.
Huge giant crab.
My huge
That's right.
giant crab.
That was non-magical.
I know! It was so
Yeah.
disappointing. Anyway.
You guys are awakened by the smell of breakfast being made in the kitchen.
How lovely.
And it's not long as you're sort of rubbing sleep from your eyes before Siaal appears in the room with plates for each of you, with just sort of generic Freydan breakfast stuff. So like,
Great.
you know, eggs and bacon and things like that.
More things to get addicted to.
Disappointed that it's not from that Paradise Place and it's our favorites. Kind
Yes, well,
of Elysium.
there's not much hunting in Elysium. But the one thing about this room is that everything has changed color.
Yes. Always.
I
The
expected
pillows
that.
and things that you are on are a bright neon orange today, and trimmed with gold instead of silver. And Siaal
What
as
kind of
well.
haircut?
Huh?
What kind of haircut today?
Sort of like a pixie cut type thing, like a little bob maybe. And
Wow, is that you?
That was my tummy.
Man, someone's ready for breakfast.
yeah, just the fringes of the
Yeah.
black hair are the same neon orange.
Right.
The eyes also are
Yep.
neon orange, with a little bit of like red eyeshadow on the top actually. Yeah.
What's that quote from Avatar? Flameo.
Flameo.
That's what I said last week. Flameo Hot Man, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Flameo, hot man.
Yeah.
Okay,
What color is Siaal's skin when they're in like Ugoloth
Mr.
form?
You know, in Ugoloth form?
Or both, actually.
In Ugoloth form, it's furred. So, like, you know, the color.
Or what color is their fur then?
It's like a chestnut brown.
Okay.
And then the tail has like tips of white.
Okay.
So
And then
there's,
in
like white patterns on the head.
regular Siaal form, it's. Or
You know,
just
kind of a like a slightly lighter brownish color to the like color of the fur.
Okay.
It's like it's similar, but it's like lightened, you know, more to like a normal human skin tone.
Yeah.
I have to say, I like this real you.
You mean the me in human form?
No, the you in your real form.
Oh, just as I live my life in the city?
Never
I
mind.
have no idea what you mean, Harmony, but thank you, nonetheless. I like the real you, too.
She's clueless.
I, too, am clueless in a sense.
I'm still half asleep.
Well, I unfortunately have to run and open up the shop.
Where
I've instructed one of my assistants to go with you and guide you to the shop when you're done procuring your papers. And Siaal kind of like looks around. Where did she go to, anyways? And they whistle, and running down the stairs from the bedroom is a fox creature. And it just kind of like hops up on the couch next to the group of you, sits up and says, in common, "Yes, I'll be your guide."
Oh my god.
Is it just like actually a little fox?
Yeah, it's just a fox.
Oh, it's great!
In a clear common dictionary, it just says, "I shall guide you wherever you wish to go."
Can I pick it up?
Yeah, it kind of like goes, but
Oh, okay.
once you pick it up.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So yes, this creature will guide you to the shop.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, don't let us keep you if you have
Thanks
to
for
go.
breakfast.
Your impish friend said he knew the way to where you need to go.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then Siaal kind of just gives a quick little nod and says, "Alright, I'll see you later then. No need to worry about locking up. It'll do that automatically." And just kind of walks out the door.
Cool. See you.
Closes it behind.
Great. Okay. So we eat breakfast.
Alright, Malik, I guess you're gonna...
Time to go get some papers.
Yeah. Do you
Alright,
have
let's
any
do it,
advice
boss.
for us before we go in there on, like, how to deal with them, or...
Well, look. Main thing is, the rules are the rules with devils, right?
Right.
You're not going to get a better price by bargaining. It's just not the way it works. Unless you're willing to bring something big to the table.
And
Because then the rules can bend.
what exactly is big? Like, a life?
Oh, that's, one of the things a devil might deal in. Sometimes devils, there have been instances where, say, there's a really good singer, but they want to be the best singer in the world. And so the devil will say, "Hey, I'll make you a deal. You could be the best singer in your world for the remainder of your life. But then your voice is mine. And if they die, the devil obtains their voice. That sort of thing.
Right.
So it's not necessarily all souls, but
But it's all kind of stuff like that.
sure.
How much gold do we have?
Well, I just got 10.
I brought what I thought was a significant amount with me.
And what's that?
As discussed, you can dip into the Hammerlock Fortune as much as you want. That is.
Okay. 1,000 gold?
Oh,
We have about 20,000 people.
okay.
Wow.
Good. Well, if we're not able to negotiate, then I guess we're just going to have to pay what they ask.
We'll see what we can do.
How much did you say you have?
20,000?
20,000? Okay.
Don't answer that question.
More than 20,000.
Do we have any interesting, like, gems or
Yeah.
or items and stuff too? Because
Yeah, we do.
we might be able to
Got
trade
rid
in
of all
gems.
those joke ones.
Just between us, we have quite a few interesting items that we can sell. for
I've got
lots
like
of
75 gold worth of gems, but I think I might keep those.
Gold. Well, we have
for-
several magic items we're not using anymore.
Yes,
It's true.
but they're not, real.
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what they would, what they'd go for, or if someone wants them. After
Alright.
what we've seen, I'm sure somebody would want some of those magic items.
That's true.
Right.
Alright, well, shall we?
Yeah.
Moloch becomes visible, hops off your shoulder, and begins to lead you
Little
down the
pot belly
streets.
Moloch.
He
Wait, the fox is gonna guide us?
Moloch
I guess
is
it's-
guiding
oh,
us
it's guiding
to
us to
the
Fox is kind of
papers.
trotting behind you, but then when
Oh,
you're
The
done,
fox is going to bring us to
Put on
the
my
store.
okay, yeah, that works.
Okay.
Does the fox have a name?
Do you want to ask it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you have a name? What's your name?
Fox name generator. Let's see.
We can come up
I
with
thought
a name.
you would have learned your lesson
We can come up with
about
a name, too.
this.
We can call it.
Yeah, sure, that's a fox name. It says, "My name's Caro."
Caro.
Caro.
Mm-hmm.
Can I scratch your chin, Caro?
Of course. And it kind of like tilts the head up.
Bianca
And,
looks like
its,
really
its like leg is thumping
wanting.
against your back.
Huh?
Its leg is thumping against your back as it's getting scratched.
How long have you and Siaal been together?
Oh, quite a long time. Me and the other assistants help out in the shop most days, but some days we get to do more interesting errands like this one.
Wait, didn't we see a fox in the first shop that we went to? When
Yeah, there was
Siaal
like a little
there?
fox statuette that spoke
Yeah,
to you.
that's right.
Mhm.
Can you turn to statues?
No, most certainly I can't.
Huh, what was that then?
Are you...
I hope that our errand isn't very interesting today.
Well, I just mean, most of my time is spent in the shop.
Yeah, getting out of the shop I think would be interesting, right?
And the shop is
Can we go
interesting
now?
in and of itself.
I thought this was happening as we're going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we've been
walking.
going.
Yeah.
Okay.
You eventually arrive back in the guild hall ward. The streets are bright and illuminated as if by sunlight, but there's no source to the sun. What was I searching for? In my notes. Right. You eventually stop before a building that is made of this dark, almost like lava rock material. And it has like a red stone door to the front. And in big letters, first in Infernal and then in Common, painted in red on the sign over the door, it says, Elmas's Travel Agency. And Moloch kind of points to the door and says, well, this is the best place I know to get papers, so...
Are there more than one?
It's who's traveling?
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
mean, in other planar cities, you can get papers, but if you're in Sigil, this is the one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, let's give it our best
Go
shot.
in, yeah.
I just knocks on the door and then opens it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a shop door, so like,
Yeah.
no one answers when you knock, but Moloch just kind of pushes it open. And there's a bell that rings when the door opens. And standing behind, basically, there's not much to this place. It's really just like a sitting area for waiting if there was a line, but there isn't one. And then a counter. And at the counter there are a pair of imps. And these two imps, unlike Moloch, have like completely crimson scales like all over their bodies. But you can only really see their heads and their tails and their wings, because the rest of their bodies are covered with like elegant and tightly fit suits.
Great.
With ties to
Love
them.
it.
One of them is wearing. Where's my information on these guys? One of them is wearing on its head like a white curly wig, and the other one
Fantastic.
has a pair of big spectacles.
Oh,
on its
nice.
face.
So good.
And as you approach the counter, one of them on the left says, "Yes, hello. What can we do for you today? Here at Elmas's Travel Agency. Will you be seeking a diabolical chemist, or are you in search of money exchanging services?"
Actually, we were looking for travel papers.
Then you'll be wanting to speak with my friend over here, Kret, who is our local passport specialist. And as you sort of approach the counter for Kret, you can see that there's a back room in this area with the door that is open, and inside of it you can just see the form of a large fiendish creature kind of moving about in the back. But
are the imps that were talking to us, are they like tiny?
yeah, imps
Or
are tiny creatures, so they're like maybe a foot tall.
Okay.
Or so. They're clearly
Alright.
standing on stools or something.
I see. Okay.
And which one is Kret? Is that the curly wig or the six?
Kret is the curly wig one, and he has been said to be the passport specialist for this.
Oh, and
establishment.
so he's not the entity in the other room or
No,
whatever.
no. And then the other imp with the glasses, who you were talking to, says, well, if you're seeking passports, you'll obviously need to exchange money for currency that will be more effective within the Hells where you wish to travel. If you decide to take advantage of those services, please let me know. I'll be your canvas for the evening.
And your name was?
Tret.
Tret.
Kret and Tret.
Great.
And before Tret leaves you in the hands of Kret, he just says, and you can be aware, we are very candid with the fact that all of our money that we mint and trade for gold and things like that is fully authorized by the Archdevil Mammon, so it is all legal and acceptable tender within any of the 9 hells.
Thank you.
And he kind of like gives a little bow and goes over to the paperwork that he was working on. And Kret, the passport specialist, with the big curly wig, steps up to the counter and says, yes, well, if you were looking for papers, then I'm the one to speak with. What can I help you with?
Yes, well,
What sort of trip are you planning today? If you need a brochure on any of the layers, I have one I can provide.
Really interested in 2, I think.
Do we need papers per layer? Is that how this works?
I mean, that's a really great question.
Do you sort of like look to the end for
I
an
looked
answer?
to both Moloch and Kret.
Yeah, I'm looking at Moloch.
Moloch, is kind of like hanging back. He's letting you guys run this show. He just kind of like gives a shrug. But Kret takes initiative and answers, well, yes, each passport that we offer is tied to the domain of a particular archdevil. It essentially gives you a stamp of approval for that archdevil, barring some terms and conditions, of course. So if you are wishing to visit multiple layers of the hell, you will need stamps for multiple layers.
Well,
We really just need to go to. We need to go to the 5th layer.
Malbolg, I think it was called.
That's the 6th.
Oh.
I don't have the 5th layer.
Well, we need to
right
get
now.
to the 6th,
So
right?
you need to go. What you learned from Moloch was you can only arrive in the 9 hells on the 1st layer. That's Avernus.
Right.
Then the river Styx basically waterfalls down into the 5th layer, which is called Stygia.
Stygia,
Nice
and that's
one.
where I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's where
well-
you need to go.
The 5th layer is what I have written down. Is where I need to go, right? Where I think.
Where Mother Midnight is on the 6th layer.
Oh.
But if you don't want to walk down layer by layer, the only shortcut is to take the waterfall down to the 5th layer from the 1st.
So we'll be in at least 1, 5, and 6.
Yes.
And was there somewhere that you had to stop too
Oh, yeah, that's
for your?
Is what I was told.
Was that the 1st layer?
first one.
Okay, so we need 1, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm hearing Avernus, Stygia, and Malbolg. So let me go ahead and get those brochures for you, and then we can talk about these papers. And he goes behind the counter and pulls out 3 different brochures and places them on the counter.
Okay.
And the first one is labeled Avernus, the 1st layer. The second one is labeled Stygia, the 5th layer. And the third one is labeled Malbolg, the 6th layer.
Okay.
And they each kind of have like a different picture to them and like a different tagline. And Avernus has like this like grassy, lush, beautiful paradise on the cover, and it just says, your diabolical one-stop destination for all your vacation needs.
Does the 5th one say like nice like ice or something like that?
It says exactly that.
Okay, great.
Nice like ice. And then the 6th one says, it's all uphill from here.
That doesn't sound very welcoming.
And
I like the fifth floor way better.
Kret says, don't mind the pictures on the first one. This is about a couple millennium outdated.
Don't mind them. This is the nicest one.
It was at one point.
Can you give us a latest version?
We don't have a latest version. No one really comes in here very often, so, I mean,
I see.
we don't reprint. We print it in bulk. We made that mistake.
I see.
So, the scenery's a little different now, but it's essentially the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll feather through them, I guess, and try and glean something about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the first one describes a veritable paradise, where anything you desire can be yours.
And then I'll turn back, is any of this true?
Yeah, the part where it says that anything you desire can be yours if you make the right deals.
I'll do this face. Yeah, correct, come on.
It just doesn't look like that anymore. It's just,
I'll just like put it like on the desk.
what do you expect? The place became a battlefield in the Blood War. Anyways.
Next one.
That one describes a endless ocean with beautiful unknown depths to it. And scenic, ice floats with various locales on them that you could spend time. And the sixth one describes this basically rocky terrain with all these, that is basically essentially a giant uphill slope. And there's nothing else to it, it's just an uphill slope.
And like the pamphlet, it's just like an entire mountain going up and down, like the whole
There's no down, it's all up.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it's just up, it's just...
Yeah, you don't know how the pamphlet conveys that, but it does.
I'm confused.
That does sound like hell.
Isn't this supposed to be upselling something? And this one just has a line.
There's a lot to be said for the sixth layer. There's incredible fortresses there of architecture that has withstood the test of thousands of years. It's really breathtaking. You're gonna love it. Though again, that one also is a little bit misleading because since the Hag Countess exploded, it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
So about these papers, you'll each be wanting one for each of these 3 layers?
Yes.
Sounds like it.
How many?
Does the tiger need one?
They don't. It's a beast.
Yeah.
Kind of like looks over the counter.
It is a beast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, devils don't really worry about beasts that much. You'll be fine.
What about Moloch?
Moloch, sort of looks a little bit sheepish as you mention the name, and just kind of looks away as if I didn't hear you say my name. And the imp raises its eyebrow and says, Moloch, you said. That's interesting. He should be fine.
Insight check.
Yeah, I'm also gonna do an insight check. It's a bit strange. Go ahead, you can go
So
first.
much insight. Can I roll 2? I want to roll insight on Moloch and this dude.
Oh, that's a good point.
Is that 2 separate ones?
Yeah.
Okay. This one is Moloch. That's a 13.
13 on Moloch. Well, Harmony, you have a little bit of information about Moloch's backstory that the rest of the crew doesn't have. You just don't remember, I'm sure.
I need to
What
go and read it
does
again.
a 26 give me?
We'll get to
About great demon Moloch that got
So-
kicked down
Oh, I
to a
remember.
lower imp
that. You
and,
remember?
Yeah.
and had to get magic poured in by Harmony, but she never did it. And
With a 26, I mean, you're not going to be able to, figure out what specifically Moloch is hiding, but,
Yeah.
he did not want his name to be mentioned.
oh, I see.
And
that's
so
fine.
now he's not sure what to do.
I see. It's up to you for the
I
second
remember. I remember now.
one. Ooh,
Ooh.
there it is. Okay.
And 18 on the dude at the desk.
He
Correct.
definitely knows the secret that you know about Moloch, and will probably be speaking with his master about it at some point.
This is wait yet when nobody tells fatties anything.
I like Moloch's reaction though. What? It wasn't me. Oh, that's so
Moloch.
funny. It's the best reaction. I'm over here.
So, to answer his question, 5? Mother, you're
Five.
coming with us, right?
Yes, but I'll pay my own way. You don't need to worry about me.
5.
So he does the math here. It says,
25 gold.
right, well, 3 layers, 5 people. That'll be 11,250 gold.
Everyone's looking at Sam.
Perhaps you'd like a little bit more information about what you're buying.
Sure.
I can describe that.
It certainly isn't these, and I point to the pamphlets,
No,
These
those
are
are
free,
free.
right? Yeah.
We're trying to offload those.
and I push them further towards him and say,
No! You have to take them.
No, I'm not
We will
taking
take them back.
If you give me a discount, I will take these.
Lady shrugs and says, well, fine, leave.
That is just like takes the Avernus one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Leafing through it, it mentions that
Does it have a map?
the ruler of the lair is someone named Bell,
okay,
but like that's not who you've heard about.
right.
Does it have do they have maps on them, or do they just show like the features? Like
It just, it's like a tourist.
Yeah, okay,
brochure.
there is.
I'm basically taking this as a souvenir for after.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Cool.
Yeah, right on my character sheet.
Good one, Gloriana.
You can just write like inaccurate brochure for Avernus.
I kind of
Travel brochure for Avernus.
want to bring one back for Eli too.
What do you think you'd like more?
All almonds.
It's all ice, or
Maybe one of each.
and so you did want them.
I mean,
I
you never
know.
offered them to me.
Well, you can have as many as you want. You want more?
Nah.
And he brings up another Avernus one.
Sam
We
winds
are,
up
we
having
are literally
and
not
like,
allowed to do away
This is the
with
back
these.
of holding.
So,
We will be in trouble with our bosses if we do that. So.
what are we buying?
Right. Effectively, when you are under the effects of the stamp that you will receive for purchasing these, devils who are in the service, basically under the organization chart of the archdevil that rules the lair you purchase the pass for, can do no harm to you. Now, in the spirit of being upfront, it doesn't stop them from trying to get the better of you in deals and things like that, but, you know, that's sort of on you.
That sounds very handy.
Yeah, I mean, they are. That's why we sell them. It's the purpose. So, and he produces a series of papers and says, I'll just need signature from each of you in blood on the bottom line of each of these.
I have a couple more questions. Sir.
Oh, yes, of course. Ask away.
Does this protection apply to all minions of the Archdevil or just the Archdevil?
All minions, yes. Anyone who falls under the organization chart of an archdevil that you bought papers for cannot do any physical harm to you.
And I guess my second question was, are these more current than these?
Oh yes, these are absolutely up to date. We bring in new contracts every week when the legal terms are updated. These are absolutely legally binding, and there are no flaws in these
Is
contracts.
it only physical harm?
Oh well, I mean, no harm due to spells or any such matter like that. You will be
No hostility.
exactly.
I see.
Now, as a term of this contract, you are of course obligated to cause no harm to such devils under the archdevil you make this agreement with. Because if you do, then of course the passport will be null and void.
We may not be needing papers for the 6th level.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Well, what Harmony would know is that the ruler of the 6th level is someone named Glacium. So the person you intend to do harm to is
He's not the archdevil or under that umbrella. Yeah. No, we still need him.
Well, you know more about this than I do, I suppose.
Yeah. We'll still need him.
So, we're level 18. Do we need papers to protect us from devils?
We are going into some of the lower depths of...
For the
Look,
first level.
I mean,
And we're clueless.
For the first level. Like, is it like... I don't know.
we talked about it a lot, and yeah, I think it's probably the only way to go.
Keep in mind that that is fish stuff for sure. This is not what the first level looks like. Even on the first level, we will be charging head first into a war between Dutch and Fiends.
Cred is nodding his head. He says, yeah, it's absolutely right. That's what it looked like before the Blood War got there. That's not what it looks like anymore because the Blood War.
And so, because of my research, I would know, is the Blood War current? Like, is it still is there still warring going on?
Yeah, I mean, you would have, and Thaddeus would know this as well. It's sort of like an eternal war. Like, it has no beginning and no end.
If it ever comes close to an ending, everything is in trouble.
Does that mean that to take care of your errand, would we have to make the contract?
Would we have to break the contract?
Yes.
I don't know. I was charged with getting the sword back. I wasn't specifically charged with
hurting anyone.
hurting Zariel.
Is Zariel the archdevil that leads the first
Actually, do I know Zariel's name? I think I do.
You do, yeah.
So
it came up in the research.
Is Zariel under the Archfiend in the first?
Are you asking this to Cred?
Am I asking it to who?
First, we're asking our own memories.
Yeah.
Okay. I think from your research, what you would have learned is that Zariel is the archdevil of the first.
Okay.
Huh. Okay, so we know that. So.
So
that's a weird conundrum.
If we're getting the sword,
we'll deal with that when we get there.
But we want to have protection.
It might be nice to go under, the guise of not intending to do harm until we decide to do harm.
We want to make sure that
if we do harm,
it's our choice to do it or not.
Yes, I understand. We want to be in control.
It's not necessarily
so
on the agenda.
I guess the only other question is, how expensive would it be to hire a guide and to make all of the changes to our ship or to charter a ship? How much more gold is that going to take?
I could not begin to tell you.
And to do some shopping to prepare.
Well, we have our estimate now. Maybe we go out and do more shopping and we find out what else setup
Yeah,
and
I think
stuff's
that's a
going to
good
cost,
idea.
and then we'll come back and buy the papers when we're ready.
The other thing I want to ask Cred is, can we negotiate?
I think they specifically said that they're not allowed to alter their price at all because they're like devils of law.
However, I am authorized to offer a deal if it helps.
It is a package deal,
Yes, precisely. This is quite a bit of money you're considering dropping into the coffers of Mammon himself. So I am authorized to offer you a special, as it were. For every 3,000 gold you spend here, so in this case, we'll bump it up to 4. You can receive 1 complimentary soul coin, which is very useful for trading in Avernus, as you know. And the rest of the 9 hells.
Tell us more about these soul coins. Sell me on it.
Well, you know how devils work, don't you? Souls are the name of the game. It's what everyone trades in. You're not going to get very far with gold down there.
Is that what your companion is telling us about, Tret?
Oh, yes. If you want to exchange gold for soul coins, Tret is the person to talk to.
What's the current exchange rate?
The current exchange rate as of anti-peak 6 hours ago is 500 gold pieces for the first coin, but every coin after that, you get a 50 gold piece discount down to 250 gold pieces.
Is that buying and selling?
What do you mean buying and selling?
Do you take soul coins back? If we came back to Sigil with more soul coins, would you exchange them?
Oh yeah, if you don't sell, if you don't use all your soul coins, we can happily exchange again.
I see.
That's what the infernal chemists are here for, after all.
Interesting.
Well, sounds like we still need to do some more shopping.
Yeah, thank you for the estimate. We'll be back.
The estimate was 11,300?
250 gold.
Okay.
250, okay.
We have some other errands to run, but we'll be back when we
Absolutely.
need
We
the
will be here ready to authorize these papers whenever you are ready, so please come back. Or don't. It's up to you.
Oh, and I suggest that you forget ever hearing the name Moloch. And I cast suggestion.
Okay. Spell save DC is?
21.
Do you have mass suggestions? Because it's only really only going to cover 1.
I know it's only going to cover 1, but he was the only one that reacted to it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, Tret was kind of buried in his paper.
Yeah.
Attention. And it's a wisdom save?
Let me double check.
+1, he needs a natural
No, he didn't.
No, he needs a natural 20.
Oh.
Roll a 12, so he fails.
Yes.
And he says, what name?
So, just to be clear on the purchasing of soul coins, it's 500 for the first one, and then 450 for each subsequent.
450 for the next one, 400 for the one after that.
What happened? What's the lowest they go?
250.
Okay, great.
All
It's
right.
a very convoluted system, but devils love convoluted
And they
systems.
sell back for 500, and then the same thing, or is it
He
like?
just said they buy him back. He didn't go into his
Well, I'm asking now.
Oh, okay. Unlike services going this direction, those could be negotiated. So we can talk about it if and when it comes.
What's the? Give me a
I
figure.
suppose it depends how your trip to the Night House goes.
If I come back with 10, what's the going rate right now?
I would be prepared to offer you 3,000 as a starting bid.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks.
All right. We'll be back. Bye.
Okay.
Let's
He
go.
just kind of says, "All right, hope to see you again." And they both kind of like wave you out. Like Trek kind of looks up from the paperwork absentmindedly enough to wave you out. Moloch, when you get back out into the street, hops up on your shoulder and turns invisible.
I pat him on the head.
And as you exit across the street, in front of another building, you see a little stall has been set up. And it's just kind of like a haphazard thing. It's like not, it doesn't look very official or anything like that. But there's an old woman in front of it, and she is being accosted by several figures in heavy armor with like bucket helms and things like that. And
The hard hats or whatever.
her stand is basically just this wooden thing, but to the sides of it, set up on these like hanging hooks, these like hanging iron hooks. There are hooked, maybe for each of the two stands, 5 or 6 what look like human-sized larvae. And as they wriggle and writhe on the hooks, you can catch a glimpse of where the like top of the larva would be, which seems to be a humanoid face, each one contorted in a silent scream as they're just writhing on the hooks. And you can hear the armored figures accosting the woman across the way, saying, through their bucket helms, "Now listen, Polly, you know the rules. You can't sell here. The only ones allowed to sell in this district when it comes to the soul trade are the infernal chemists. You have to go to the lower ward if you're going to sell anywhere at all within the city." And Polly's just like, "Oh no, it's all right, dearie. I've cleared it with them. It's perfectly fine." And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
I
okay.
think you guys can decide whether you want to engage with that over the week.
Okay. I didn't know we already had time.
But these armored men look like they're about to get very hostile with this old woman,
Oh boy.
who seems to be selling larvae with human faces.
Human screaming faces.
Polly.
Okay.
This city's the worst.
Thaddeus is having the best time.
Oh
Welcome
boy.
to Sigil!
I think the title should be like Vacation with Thaddeus.
Ay. Well, that was informative.
Man.
Daddy in
Yeah,
paradise.
and I'm glad I prepared as much as I did. Because, geez, you guys have a lot of questions.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
When you shift planes.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Thank you to anyone who tuned in to watch. Thank you guys for playing. We'll be back with maybe the last episode in Sigil. We'll see. Next week. Same time, same place. So, have a good night. Bye!